state of Virginia is joining in also on this. And the deal was just that they, well, I mean, you got Ohio State and Texas are able, and Texas A&M doing all this stuff, and then uh-oh. Okay, I think we can go. Oh, we're all right on this, I think. Oh, me. Okay, there we go. All right, we can see each other now. But it's called the Sherman. Hey, Brian, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. But the Sherman Antitrust Act, and I was reading on all this stuff, and I was reading what Tennessee and well, first the NCAA response, and then and it all. You know what? I'm not crazy about watching Feinbaum, but I might watch it today, see what he has to say on that, so to have a better understanding what to really talk about. I don't know. That's a good question. I hope they come on today. Didn't see John. Saw Greg yesterday. I think John was on yesterday. Hopefully they'll be on soon. Got us a call here. Hey, Brian, what's going on?
The groundhog didn't see us since early spring.
All right, so what does that mean when you don't see your shadow?
Means it's early spring. Spring comes early.
Oh, it does. Does that actually happen?
Yeah.
It does. Okay. Well, that'll be good. I like spring. That's my second favorite part of the year. Of course, summer is the best, but I do like the fall when football season starts too.
In April 13th, spring game.
Yeah, that's right. I'm gonna try to get at least 70,000 folks up there. I hope they get at least that many people up there into Bryant-Denny Stadium. If you remember when Saban came on board, they had over 92,000 people there. When Bryant-Denny held 92,000 people, and they filled it up. It was unreal.
Yeah, I went to the first 8A game in 07.
All right, that was the year that they when he came there. Okay. No, I've been going to those since 1970. So it was, and Joe Willie Namath and all of them were there at the time. They were saluting the team of the 60s. Well, who won last? All right, you said South Carolina beat Auburn. What was the final on that one?
76-54, second round Gamecocks.
76. Oh, so they beat them by 22 points.
Alabama won by 16.
Yeah, the coach there, Christy Curry, won her 499th win. That's pretty good.
Yep, you're going to have Jeremiah Castille on the show today.
We're going to have Jeremiah Castille.
Yeah.
Braxton was going to come on, but he could. Something came up at work where he can't come on, but he was going to be on here today, but can't do it today. But at 8:20, we got Jeremiah Castille. Lewis says, hey, BLT, new profile picture number 8,025.
Hey, Lewis Wood and John Dent and Greg Anderson are in the butts.
Well, I hope those
roll, Tyrone,
okay.
Lewis Wood.
Yep. Well, I'll let you go, big man. I got him coming on at 8:20, and I need to go ahead and talk about something else. But thank you for calling.
You tell you hello, Mr. Harlan Burton.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, sir. See you.
See you later.
Bye. All right. Okay. We would have been talking to Braxton Palmer now, but he couldn't, like I mentioned, Brian, that he couldn't get on today. Something came up at work where he couldn't be on, but he'll be on next week. But there was a sad story, what we heard the other day, that former Auburn wide receiver Terry Beasley had died, and there's no doubt in my mind he had CTE, and he took his own life. And a lot of these ex-players that have CTE uh, do that. I knew a guy, Junior Seau was one. There's a lot of examples of that, but we don't want to get into that. What we want to do is talk about Terry Beasley, the person and the player, and what I remember. Now, I don't remember when he played at Lee High School up in Montgomery, but he was a major league prospect when he came out of high school. And the man could fly. I did not know how fast he was until 1970. That's when I really started following college football. And he and Pat Sullivan made a big time combo called, what was it? A sticker, Super Sully and Terry Terrific, I think is how that came out, or Terrific Terry or something. I don't know. That was a long time ago. But anyway, he had red hair and he could fly. He ran a 9.500. That's pretty fast. That's why they probably had a hard time covering him over the years. But anyway, and I didn't know how fast he was until a guy named Steve Williams that played at Alabama was the same speed, and and he played football and played defensive back and ran track up there at Alabama. I'm pretty sure Beasley ran track at Auburn. I would have had him coming out for track with him being that fast. But anyway, yeah, I'm trying to remember back. Main thing what I remember about him from the 1970 season, I remember more about the 71 season, but the 70 season, I remember he, what did they do? Alabama got ahead of him 17-0, and then he got knocked out of the game. Supposedly his teeth came through his skin underneath his mouth. And they took him to the hospital. They patched him up, and he came back and played. And there's no doubt about it in my mind that he was a major reason why they won that game. They couldn't stop him in the second half. I think even he ran a reverse or something in that game, and he scored a touchdown. I think that might have tied up the game. I can't remember. I'm gonna have to look that up, but I remember listening to it down in Chapman, Alabama, and he did run a reverse. I think that set up the winning touchdown, and they ended up winning 33-28. The next year, this is what I really remember about him. Was they opened up with Chattanooga and won 60-7, and then they went up to Knoxville, Tennessee, to play Tennessee, and at the beginning of the game, Auburn was moving the ball, and then he got knocked out with a concussion, and he was on the bench for a long, long, long time until the very end of the game when they needed, and they were down 9-3, and Tennessee was driving on them, and if they hadn't have fumbled the ball and kicked the field goal, they would have went up 12-3, and I don't think they would have been able to come back, but they fumbled the ball. They recovered it on their own 12. And then, if they scored a field goal or a touchdown, that would have been it. But they didn't. And there was 5 passes and a run on the drive. Dick Smaltz caught a couple of passes, who was Pat Sullivan's teammate in high school at John Carroll. And then Beasley caught several passes on the drive, and finally they got the 5-yard line, and Harry Unger scored the winning touchdown. But the game that I really remember with him was against Georgia that year, before the Alabama-Auburn, 2 weeks before the Alabama-Auburn game, and both teams were undefeated, and Auburn raced out to a 14-0 lead. Then they tied it. Then they I think Auburn went ahead 21-14, and then Georgia scored, and then they were about to tie the game. And then what happened was the extra point kick got blocked, and then here was the play of the game. And what happened was they threw a pass right down the middle, uh, and you know what? You know they decided to play. Both players for Georgia hit him at the same instead of high low. It was like at the same angle, and they both bounced off. And all he had to do was run, and he scored. And uh, that was when trying to think. That really ended up being the deciding play, and they ended up winning 35-20. And then his good friend, the quarterback Pat Sullivan, won the Heisman Trophy. And then he got drafted by the San Francisco 49ers and played for about 4 years. But his problem was that he was suffering concussions major league time, and he just never and he only lasted about 4 years, and then uh, since then he's had problems with concussions and stuff like that. And yeah, they showed a picture of him. Didn't look the same. It was pretty bad. It was a sad story. And at first they said he died, and then but it was ruled a suicide. But he's not the first person to do that with this CTE. It's really bad news to have that. And then, like some of these guys that are that have has had career had a I don't know, they might ought to be honest with you looking back at it now. The ones that do suffer concussions might ought to just go ahead and just call it a career. Sort of like guys that are in boxing, when they finally lost a fight, they just finally gave it up because it's just constant pounding on the head there is what causes all that, and it's just a bad thing. Yeah, they got concussion protocol now and stuff like that now. In the old days, they would go on got a concussion, they'd give them smelling salts, and then they went back out there. But you know, sometimes if you think about it, I don't know really how some folks don't even remember what they did out there, but somehow I guess by instinct did it. But it's really not a good thing to do. I'm going to go ahead and give Mr. Jeremiah Castille a call. He's our guest today.
You reached the voicemail of Jeremiah.
Uh-oh. Okay. Uh, okay, let's see. I'm going to wait for a second. I might have called him too early, but... All right. All right, let's see what happens. I'm texting him right now. Okay, but yeah, we're going to be talking to Jeremiah Castille in a minute or two. And we're going to ask him about, I don't know if we're going to go into it or not, but yeah, he played at Alabama, and he also played for the Denver Broncos and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And he lasted, I think, for about 6 or 7 years. And then they decided, all right, I'll wait about a couple more minutes and try to call him back. Yeah, we do have a guest next week, next Tuesday, Chan Lowe, who's the interim head coach at Leroy. They won the state championship. We'll have him on at 8:30. 8:30. At 8:30. Uh, Tuesday morning. Okay, let me see. All right, let's try this recency again. calling up Jeremiah Castille.
Hello,
Hey, Jeremiah, this Big C. How are you doing this morning, big man?
Mama.
Hello?
Doing well.
Good, good. Let me tell everybody most everybody knows who you are, but we still like to introduce people we have on our show, and thank you for being on here. This is Jeremiah Castille, who's from a native of Phoenix City, Alabama, who played at Alabama from 1979 to 82, made All-American, and we got him as a guest, and we're going to have you on for a few minutes. I don't know how long we're going to talk, but we'll talk for a little while. But how are you doing this morning? Oh, yeah, you said well. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Well.
All right. I want to ask you a crazy question. How old were you when you started playing football?
I was 13.
Okay, so you went out in the 8th grade or the 7th grade for football. Dang, that's pretty good because you didn't. A lot of them, start off really a lot younger than that. Now, was that junior high football that you played? Started when you started playing?
8th grade.
8th grade. All right, and then you went to Phoenix Central, Phoenix City. Was that the next
Central High School?
Central High School. Were you on the varsity in the 9th grade, or did you have to wait till the 10th grade to get on the varsity?
10th grade.
Okay, so you played junior high, 8th and 9th grade. Now, when you first started playing, you know the story on Don McNeil. He didn't know what he was doing, and he went out when he was in the 11th grade, which was really a late start. But when you got natural ability like he did, that helps a lot. But how did you feel pretty lost when you first started playing football?
No, I didn't. I watched it, so I was familiar with it. I watched football.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I was a fan of it from as a little boy.
Okay. So then, did you have, Don had to go through his daddy to finally get to play. Did you? Did you have to go through Mama and Daddy to get on the field there? How did that play out? And how was you? Or did you?
Well, my dad didn't really want me to play. My dad wasn't really for me playing.
Yeah.
He didn't really want me to play, so I didn't really have his support. So.
What about Mama?
She really wasn't. My parents really wasn't sports people. So they weren't sports people. So I didn't really have the support of my mom or dad.
Oh wow, that's pretty wild there, but it turned out fine. Now I know your friend, you knew Eddie Lowe way back when, and y'all were teammates even back in junior high. Now, when his brother Woodrow went to Alabama, did that sort of give you an idea of maybe you could go up to Tuscaloosa and play football up there?
Well, I started watching the Coach Bryant show when Woodrow was there in 1973.
Okay.
Woodrow was a freshman.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched the Coach Bryant show on Sundays, and that's how I became. Two things from it. One, I got a vision I could actually go to Alabama and play. Because Woodrow, they lived down the street from me. So we lived in the same neighborhood pretty much. And so I knew who Woodrow was. And it was one of those where I said, man, if Woodrow can go down there and play, man, I can do the same thing.
Well, that's interesting. Now, how far, all right, the main rival for Alabama, as you know, is Auburn. How far is Auburn from Phoenix City?
About 25 miles.
Wow. So with the Woodrow going to Tuscaloosa, that made you an Alabama fan, plus watching the show and everything. Now, when you were being recruited later on in the 12th grade, I know you did well. I read up some stuff on you when you were, on that website for high school football. Who else other than Alabama was interested in you at the time?
Well, Auburn was not interested. they told me I was too small.
Yeah.
So I went over for a visit. Troy,
Yeah.
Troy University, I think Georgia, Coach Dooley at the time, and just really smaller schools. Wasn't a whole lot of big schools interested in me.
Now, was it? I know, yeah. When you made your visit up there, what did Coach Bryant and I know Coach Oliver was going to be your position coach? What did they say to you?
Well, actually, Coach Jeff Rousey's who recruited me.
Oh, okay.
He's who recruited me, and he tells the story when I first met Coach Bryant. And I met him, and I walked off after the conversation, and Coach Bryant told Coach Rousey, he said, Jeff, he's pretty small, man. I was about 5'9", 150 pounds.
Golly.
And Coach Rousey said he told Coach Bryant, trust me, he can play.
Well, it worked out good. He sold him on him, and he was right. You could play. Now, I remember seeing you up in I was in summer school in the summer of '79, and you played in the All-Star game. And I knew sort of who you were, but then that night, I remember you made several hits, and it was unbelievable how small you were, but how hard you hit. Do you think with you being as fast as you were, were you able to deliver the licks like you could? Because I mean, you like a friend of mine would say, you lit them up.
Well, we had a great strength program at Central High School. Mm-hmm. So I started lifting weights in the 9th grade with the program.
Yeah.
And really, we had a great strength and conditioning program, and I was small. I wasn't big, but the weight program really had me strong. Mm-hmm. I was benching 300 pounds in high school.
Wow.
Squatting probably 450, 500.
Gosh.
So that's where the ability to make tackles came from. I was an explosive person for my size.
You were that. That's no doubt about that. Now, from my recollection, I don't know about in the NFL, but at Alabama, I don't remember anybody running over you. Once you wrapped up, they were going down. A lot of times they were getting jolted along with going down. Now, when you went up to Alabama, of course, you came in the summer or came preseason practice. What did they now, you went with the defensive backs. Now, I know you played offense. Were they mainly interested in you playing a DB when you went up there?
Yes, sir. That's what I was going to play, the corner.
Okay.
That's what they talked to me about, playing. Actually, coming in, Don McNeil was the left corner.
So you was
I
backing
was
him
left corner in high school. Mm-hmm. And so they talked to me about coming in and being a left corner. So when I was being recruited, that's the position I looked at.
Now, when you came to practice today, I know they didn't promise you anything except an opportunity to play. Did you? Obviously, you were able to pick up real quick what was going on. Was it pretty easy, or was it just somehow or another your natural ability helped you get on the field as quick as you did?
I was. I had played left corner from 8th grade on, so that's the position I had played, and I was a basketball player and a track and field guy.
That track and field does help.
Yeah. So track is what helped me, along with basketball. You don't think about it, but basketball is. When you play corner, you're doing a lot of basketball movement.
Oh, well, yeah, you're backing up. Now, that's the thing that's pretty amazing about these cornerbacks and players on playing basketball, how they can move backwards real easy.
Yeah. So I played both of those. I lettered in 3 sports in high school. So playing corner, I just had a lot of training, just over those 4 years of high school, and with my not being a big person, it really, I was made for it. It's the best way for me to put it.
Oh yeah,
just made to do it with my, being 5'9", all of the movement. When you think about the movement of corner, it's just a lot of movement, and so when you do see big guys that can do it, it really is exceptional when you got big guys like Mike Washington.
Oh yeah,
that play corner, or even a Don McNeil. He was big, 6'2".
Yeah.
So for me, it came rather, because I wasn't a big guy, it came rather easy.
Now, then you had, of course, that first year you were there, you had Bill Oliver as your position coach, which I think he was one of the best ever coaching DBs. Obviously, he was a great teacher, also along with the coach, or he was able to teach. Yeah. Tell us about him real quick.
Well, I'm laughing because that freshman year was that freshman year of 1979. Coach Oliver, we got to camp. He was checking my I call it my manhood. he anyway, the routine was every day, whether I made a good play or a bad play.
Yeah.
He was gonna what I call come and lay hands on me. He was gonna grab my face mask. He'd have that big old chew of tobacco in his mouth. Man, he'd be spitting, talking to you, spit's flying everywhere. And whether it was a good play or a bad play, he was just trying to find out what I was made of. And so he really lit into me every day. And I told Billy Jackson one day, we were sitting eating lunch at Brian Hall. I said, man, Coach Oliver don't like me. And my nickname is Bone, so my nickname in college was, he says, oh, Bone, he likes you. If he's a friend, man, I don't want to see what he does to his enemies. Anyway, he says, if he's talking to you, he sees potential. He says, all them guys he don't talk to, he said, they'll never play.
Oh, wow. Well, I bet that really made you feel, your confidence level after hearing that from Billy Jackson made you really feel real well on that.
Yeah, it just really helped me understand that he saw some things in me, and he was trying to trying to just get me to play at the level that he knew Coach Bryant wanted in order for me to play. So and I thank God for him. I seen Coach Oliver here just a couple of years back at Church in the Pines down at Lake Martin. It's probably 1,000 people at the church service, and he got there early, and he come over to me, and we were there. We got there early at church service, and he got there early. He knew I was going to be speaking, and came over and talked with me. And when the service started, I told everybody, I said, the Bible talks about give honor where honor's due. And I said, there's a person here in his audience this morning that helped make me a great cornerback. And his name is Bill Oliver.
Oh, wow. I bet he felt, I know he appreciated you saying that.
Oh, yeah. I asked Coach to stand up, and I said, folks, all the stories you read about me playing and my career, I said, it's because of men like Coach Oliver.
Wow. Now, All right, let me ask you, since you mentioned that, how would you compare him to the coaches you had in the pros coaching DBs? Was he just as good as them or better than them, in your opinion?
I didn't meet anybody that had the. This is not a knock on any of the coaches.
Yeah.
That I had, but I just didn't meet and play for another coach that could coach the cornerback position with the technicality that Coach Oliver could coach you.
Wow. Well, I know he was a great coach, and he was a good technician. And I can see him day at practice. I mean, I can visualize when we were there. He'd always had that piece of paper out and telling y'all what to do here and what to do there. I mean, it was just, he was a good, great teacher, to say the least. Now, I want to ask you this question. This it came to my mind. When you were there, did y'all try to play man for man, or did y'all play more zone, or did you play a combination?
Man.
Played
man. A lot of man.
Really? Wow. I know they do that now up there, but I became that was my niche in the NFL. I could play man coverage. Well, that's interesting. Well, let me ask you this. Now, and I talked to somebody else that you played with. I don't know if I need to mention his name. Next time I talk to you off the air, I'll tell you who it was. But like the thing that I noticed with Alabama recently, they don't turn their head around him, but for some reason y'all were able to do that. What was that technique, or how did he teach y'all that?
The teaching on it was, when the ball's in the air, you become the receiver. So that's how I got the interceptions I got. Yeah. We weren't taught to defend the player, the receiver. We were taught to become the receiver.
Wow, that's pretty interesting there. Well,
so that's why I got the interceptions I got at Alabama.
Well, and then you were on the team. Oh, I don't know how many you got your freshman year, but I remember you got one against Miami when we played them on national TV as a true freshman.
Yeah, that was my first interception.
And then after that, you got 15 more the next 3 years, which at the time you had the career record. Now, I don't know if they count.
They don't count the bowl games.
Yeah, I know you had 3. Now, didn't you have one against Baylor, if I remember right?
I had one against Baylor, I think one against Texas, and 3 in the Liberty Bowl.
So you would have really had 21 career interceptions. Wow.
Yes, sir.
Wow. And so the technique was, when the ball got in the air, you all of a sudden became the receiver instead.
You become the receiver.
I like that. I did not know that. That's very, very, very interesting. Now, the first time you got on the field, what was do you remember the first play you went on the field at Alabama? And how nervous was you?
I played the first game because I was on special teams.
Okay.
I played special. That's how I started. That's how Coach Bryant played me. I could run. I had pretty good speed being a track guy. And so Coach Bryant, I played on kickoff.
Yeah.
Played on kickoff. So that was how I really got to where got comfortable going in the game on defense.
Uh-huh. So now, when you went on we played Georgia Tech. Was it? I can't remember if we kicked off to them or they kicked off to us. But after we scored, you got on there. How nervous was you going on the field the first time? Or do you remember?
To be honest with you, when you can get through an Alabama practice with Coach Bryant, you ain't nervous about nothing, man.
Oh, I like that. That's a good answer. Great answer. Well, that's true.
It's true, man. If I could make it through them. Look, the first week, I'll tell you what, Stan. That first week of camp in 1979.
Yeah.
The true freshmen, we scrimmaged the varsity.
Yeah.
So all my nervousness was knocked out of me by Steve Whitman.
Oh boy! All right. All right. I just mentioned to you that I don't remember you getting run over by anybody while you were at Alabama, or at least by opposing player. But Ricky Tucker said that Johnny Davis was the hardest guy he ever tackled, and he was a teammate. Was that the same deal with you with Steve Whitman?
Steve Whitman, and that was that first week we scrimmaged. They were the returning national champions of '78.
Yep, that's right.
So Coach Bryant I call him, he sicked them on us that first week. Stedman, Sheila, and that whole crew, Steve Whitman, Billy Jackson, Mitch Ferguson.
Yeah.
Man, I'll never forget them guys.
Yeah.
So we got ready to play Georgia Tech or whoever. Man, I was already broke in.
I like that. You speaking of that game, what I thought was real interesting was Robbie Jones made a comment in the Tuscaloosa News. He said practice was a lot harder than the game. Explain to me, was that your take also that the practice? Yeah, I know it was. What was it about the practice?
My answer on that comment by Robbie is amen. Amen. Look here, practice was so hard. It was so hard. That's how I got my interception. Games were easier.
Mm-hmm.
We practiced so hard because you were licking your chops to get in the game.
Yeah.
It's like, man, I'm glad because at least you knew in the game, man. Coach Bryant turned you every which way but loose, man, in practice.
Wow.
So game time, you were delighted.
Oh yeah. Wow, that's very interesting. Now, all right, the next year you was a starter as a sophomore, and y'all played Baylor, and then went for 3 in a row, but lost to Mississippi State and Notre Dame, which I didn't think we should have lost either. Well, we got outplayed against Mississippi State. Notre Dame, there were opportunities that we couldn't take advantage of, but I feel like, now I know we weren't. I mean, that day when we beat Baylor 30-2 in the Cotton Bowl, we were the best team in the country at that day. I don't know if we were the whole season, but that particular day. Now, did they do? Now, what got y'all so fired up to play in them like you did?
Well, we should have. We really had. I felt like I think the potential to have a great team.
Yeah.
To be really up in the running national championship running, and we didn't do it. And I think that was still what had those guys simmering and kind of upset, is we missed an opportunity that when we started the season out we thought we had.
Yeah. Now the next year, the big highlight, you had real 2 highlights. You beat Penn State and played great against them to go for 315, and then tie the record for Coach Bryant, and then against Auburn broke it on 315. Now, were y'all? Plus, they played real well that day. Plus Pat Dye had them ready to go. But were y'all uptight or anything like that, or was it just they just played y'all a real good game, or what was the deal there? But finally pulled it off in the 4th quarter.
Well, I'll tell you, the thing to me about Auburn every year, was you knew they were going to have great talent.
Mm-hmm.
If you go back to '79, it was Cribbs, Andrews, and Brooks, and all those guys went on to almost Hall of Fame careers in the NFL.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you're sitting there. I'm serious. Auburn was going to have players every year.
Yeah.
And you could beat them. That wasn't a small feat.
Well, I've done this before, but I'm going to do it again. Thank you for making that tackle against James Brooks in '79. Give us your take on that play, or from what you recall, because you remember we went ahead 25-18, and then did what we called a safe kick, which turned out to be almost a disaster kick when he caught the ball and then he cut across the field. What was going on that play there? that you caught him from behind on the 31?
I was doing my job.
Yeah.
I've been on the kickoff team all year.
Mm-hmm.
And so on that play, the way that my assignment was, when that ball's kicked away from me, then I'm the safety. So I had to come back across the field.
Yeah.
Based on where the ball was kicked. So that was it. It was my job to go catch him.
I'm glad you did.
Yeah.
Golly. I mean, I thought he was gone, and he almost was.
Well, he was. He was. And that's where I'll tell people my track and field days in high school came in.
Well, I'm glad it did. That's all I got to say.
Yeah. I was a hurdler and a jumper in high school, 300 meter, 400 meter hurdler. So there was one thing I could do at 5'9", 150 pounds run.
Well, I'm glad you was able to run. Yeah, if you weren't able to run, they would have never signed you. Never. Now, a lot of people might know this, might not, but unfortunately, as you know, after the Liberty Bowl, Coach Bryant passed away 4 weeks later, and you had the honor, along with several other guys, to be the pallbearer. Tell us about that.
Well, back up to the Liberty Bowl, and right before the captains get ready to go out for that game, Colin and I got a strong prompting to get up and say something to the team and Coach Bryant.
Yes.
And so I was a quiet person, but this prompting was so strong. I said, man, so I just raised my hand and I asked Coach Bryant. I didn't know what I was going to say. But I raised my hand and asked Coach Bryant if I could say something. And he nodded yes. And my first words were, I thank Coach Bryant. I said, Coach, I just want to thank you for everything you've done for me as a person and a player here at the University of Alabama. I thank you for that. And just kind of went on, and I said, Coach, ain't no way we're going to lose this game tonight. And it got our players fired up.
Yep.
And we were stoked, man. We were ready to go play Illinois, and especially on defense. And 20-something days later, Coach Bryant passes, and I look back at it and I said, you know what I thank God for is I had a chance to publicly in front of my peers thank Coach Bryant. Because he dies 20-some days later.
Yeah.
But as a player, a former player of his, that'll always stand out that, man, you know what, I thank my coach in front of my peers.
Yes.
And a lot of, Coach Bryant passed, and a lot of guys didn't get a chance to do that.
Well, you did, and that's great.
Yeah. So, Coach Bryant, I loved him. He gave me, I tell people even to this day, we just did, and we honored the 1973 team back in December here in Birmingham, national championship team. And I tell people, and I do all of that out of my love for the opportunity the University of Alabama gave me along with Coach Bryant. I'm eternally indebted to the university and Coach Bryant.
Well, that's wow. I don't know what else to ask you on there, but that's great. And you were very fortunate that you were able to do that because, like you said, a lot of the guys probably didn't get that opportunity to say something to him. And and then you remind me, there was a lady that I went to, that said something to me when I was in high school, and if it wasn't for her, I might not even know you today. But that's a long story. I'll get into that one day with you. But unfortunately, I did get to talk to her, but her mind was already gone. And I sort of regretted I didn't get to talk to her earlier. Now, I did sort of tell her brother that worked with my mama what I did, and I hope he passed it on to her, but I wanted to do that myself. And I did go by to see her, but I think she was already, well, she wasn't all there anymore. You know how people are in a nursing home when before they die, their mind is gone. And she was looking at me, but I don't think she knew who I was. And she did at the time when she said that, but you were very fortunate to be able to do that. But Jeremiah, we're almost out of time, but I want to thank you for being on here, and
yes,
it's been a great time, and we'll try it again sometime down the road. But
yes, sir, be happy too. God bless. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide, and a happy belated birthday to you also, big
yes,
man.
sir, thank you.
Thank you. See you. Hang in there, Jeremiah. Bye-bye. All right, folks, that was Jeremiah Castille. He played at Alabama from 1979 to 82, and we were able to talk to him a pretty good while. That was almost 30 minutes there. Let's see if we can get a hold of Jimmy Rudder here. I hope we can. Go ahead and hang up. Maybe he'll call back. I hope he does. I'm very grateful that we got him on here today, and we were able to talk to him for over 30 minutes. We got him around 8:23, and it's now 8:54. So we had him on for right at 30 minutes. I'm glad we was able to get a hold of him. I'll tell y'all about that play on James Brooks. What happened was Alabama got behind Auburn 18-17, and then we drove it downfield and scored and went for two and made it. And on the ensuing kickoff, as he told you, he went across the field when it kicked away from him, and he was the safety. And I swear, I thought he was gone. And a lot of stuff that I was thinking about, like being we would have been the SEC champions, but it would have been if we'd lost them, we would have tied them. I think. I don't know what they would have done with the Sugar Bowl. They made a deal already before the Sugar Bowl. No, I think what it was, I don't know. It would have, just looking at the whole thing now, how big a mess it would have been. I don't know if we would have gone to the Cotton Bowl or what. Georgia did not go to a bowl game, but they made a deal, and I think. Oh, okay. I wonder who that is. That's not. That's somebody I don't know, and it's a local number. So I thought that might have been Jimmy, but it's not. Yeah, he's in the harbor. I don't know. I'll try him back one more time. I don't know why he didn't. Let's see if we can get him back on. I'll let it ring about two more times. I'm going to let it ring unless he picks up. Okay. No, I guess we're not going to be able to get him on the day. I'll get a hold of him off the air and see what's going on there. But anyway, yeah, we are almost out of time. I'm glad we're able to come on today. And thank you, big man, for your help on here. But anyway, well, folks, we're gonna, like we always do on a Friday. Sometimes we get off early, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna get off early today. But I want to thank you, all of y'all, for being on here. I want to thank Jeremiah Castille. Gosh, I'm glad he was able to talk too. He really made the show today. But anyway, y'all have a great day, and we'll talk to y'all on Monday. Y'all have a great weekend. See y'all. Bye-bye. Okay, where are we going here? Okay, we're almost out. We'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.